G'day and welcome to the Bornean Sun Bear Conservation Centre here in SEPILOK, Malaysia, of course on the island of Borneo. We're here to meet this cutest, smallest bear on the planet, a Keystone species. We're going to go and meet Dr. Wong and he's going to tell us all about it. Here we are at the Sun Bear Conservation Centre in Borneo. This is Dr. Wong. How are you today?
Good. How are you?
Nice to meet you, and thanks for taking the time to show us your awesome conservation project.
You're very welcome.
That you have going on here.
Mm-hmm.
Can you tell us a little bit about what inspired you to start dedicating your life and working with conservation and the sun bears?
Yeah, I think I was given the chance to study wild sun bear in the first place some 20 years ago. And then the more I learn about them, the more I care. The more I care, the more I worried. And then to a point where I think I have to do something about it, since I study them and I know more about them than anybody else. So they face, many problems, and therefore I have to help them. Otherwise, I cannot expect other people to help them.
Great. So basically, you found you obviously have a great connection with wildlife. You found a species that you really like, and you had a connection with the sun bears, and then you decided that the only way you could help them after you fell in love with them is to get out there and do something.
Yeah,
and that's kind of what we're trying to promote to everybody out there, and showing them the wildlife and the places and the people that dedicate their lives to saving animals. That once you get the bug and you fall in love with animals, then we're hoping that people and the public will follow along the same for the conservation of the species and the habitat.
Yes, especially for me, I am trained as a wildlife biologist, and then so that's our job, so I look at the problems, and then I cannot expect other people to do it, because I'm trained to do all this kind of wildlife, either research, management or conservation work. So I feel like I have the obligation to do it since I study them.
So the centre here, we're in SEPILOK, Borneo, Malaysia. It's been open to the public for
about 3.5 years now.
3.5
Yeah, we opened to the public in January of 2014. Well, I first started studying wild sun bears, and then and do a various study and survey, and after that, only this project, the establishment of the Borneo Sun Bear Conservation Center started in 2008. Then I start to get into works on rescuing, improve animal welfare, education, research and rehabilitation. These are pretty much the 4 objectives that we have for our center.
So what are some of the other things that you do to promote the conservation of sun bears? Obviously you've got this great park and you're doing great things and rescuing bears as well, but you go to schools and have talks with the next generation of wildlife.
Yes, all
lovers?
the time, because sun bears, there's a big problem with the sun bears. Sun bear is the least known bear in the world, and it is the most neglected large mammal in Southeast Asia. Not many people knows about sun bear, even local people. So the very first step for our work is trying to educate them about this particular species, how important they are in our forest ecosystems, and what kind of threats that they are facing. So over the last over the last 20 years or so, I try to educate the public as much as possible, and especially after the establishment of the center, where I have a good team. In the past, as a student, my voice did not travel far. After the establishment of the center, there's a team of people. We have our education unit, where we do education work either in-house at the at the conservation center here, where visitors coming in, where school kids coming in, and learn about bears, see about the bears, enjoy the forest and so on. At the same time, for those people who cannot come to our center, especially the pupils, we went to their school and do education outreach.
People at home can realise as well, it's even if you want to be a conservationist from home and help spread the word, you can do that at home from your computer quite easily through all the social media networks. But what are some of the other things that people can do to help protect the sun bears and their habitat? Whether it be perhaps palm oil products or Other examples like that?
Well, I think many people can do many things, and then the bottom point is to reduce our consumption. Right now one of the big problems of all the wildlife, including the sun bear face, is human population still growing in an exponential growth. 7.5 billion or more in the world, and everybody consume. Palm oil is a good example where palm oil is a food commodity, can be used in industry and things like that. So if we can reduce our consumption, reduced, choose product that is more sustainable, like the Sustainable Palm Oil Initiative, use timber that is like certified timber and things like that, can help in the long run. But everybody needs to be on the same pace to do the same thing.
Lowering the carbon footprint, and also like even just a simple one, saying no to plastic a lot. Every time you go to the shop, plastic. No plastic, that's all right, I've got 2 hands, I can carry it. And because that all ends up in the ocean as well. Absolutely. And it all affects the rainforest and the area. Sun bears are obviously a very important part to the ecosystem. Can you tell us a little bit more about?
Sun bears is extremely important of the forest ecosystem, especially in the Southeast Asia rainforest. And then we call them a keystone species because the presence of the sun bear will affect other species as well. Say, for example, they are very important seed disperser in the forest. They eat a wide variety of fruits in the forest, and they carry the seed far away from the mother tree. Fruits with large seed also come from big tree. So in theory, we can argue that sun bears actually do help like combat global climatic change by dispersing big trees. Eventually they can go into big tree and then can absorb a lot of carbon in the forest ecosystem. So that is one. And then when they feed on a wide variety of, like say, termite, and there are a few species of termite in this forest are known to attack live tree. So when sun bears feed on this particular group or particular species or genera of termite, they actually control the outbreak of that particular termite species that can kill many trees at one particular spot. When sun bear feed on, say, earthworm, they actually do a lot of excavating and they enhance the soil nutrient cycle, and that is extremely important because in this part of the rainforest, the nutrients, the very rich soil is actually on top of the layer. Very thin layer of humus rich soil. So when they do a lot of digging, they actually plow the land, plow the soil, and then enhance the soil nutrient cycle. And then when sun bear feed on like stingless bee, excavating that cavities, finally get the beehive and then eat the honey. And then that broken holes later will be used as nests by tree nesters, say hornbills or flying squirrels and other tree cavity nester. It's extremely important because without sun bears, hornbills might not be able to excavate that cavity themselves. So it's all in all, sun bear do help other species in this forest ecosystem, let alone this is plants or animals survive as well. So that's why they call it a keystone species.
The whole avatar of the whole system all joined together, and everything plays an important role. So obviously the best way to promote conservation is to educate people about, and as you said, some people don't even realize the bears are there. They are the smallest bear in the world as well. And I guess it's also important to let people know that some bears they're not dangerous unless you're actually trying to disturb one.
True, yes, in the forest, they are very shy because they are relatively small. When they smell human presence, they'll be going away. So it is not a life-threatening. There's no man-eating sun bear or something like that. So sun bears is actually not a dangerous animal, and they have the rights, and we should make sure that they live forever in our forest.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, they have every right, just as much as us, maybe if not even more, to roam free in their natural habitat. So Dr. Wong, how many bears do you actually have at the park here?
Okay, so right now we have 44 rescue sun bears.
Wow.
And then all of them again are rescued from various conditions within Sabah. The first few years when we established, many bears were rescued from like you know, illegal mini zoos, crocodile farm, or private, you know, manageria, and many bears, adult bears that has been kept as pets for many years. And then over the last year or two, most of the bears that we rescue are cubs that people try to sell these cubs, you know, by the roadside or you know, places like that.
So you also have a soft release program where obviously your main objective is to bring back the bear's natural instinct and reduce it slowly back into a natural habitat.
Yes.
Where they have enough area for them to go back into the wild eventually.
Yeah. So one of the objectives that I mentioned earlier was rehabilitation. So for those bears that still have the chance to go back into the wild, we want to give them the second chance to be able to go back into the wild, because they serve very important purposes, you know, in the forest. As a wildlife biologist, I want to see them in the wild and not in captivity. So we do have like release bears that we are quite confident that they have a second chance.
Do your best. It's the best you can do, and you're doing a great job. Dr. Wong, thank you very much.
Thank you.
If people want to support your cause, where do they go to online, directly or indirectly? How they can help the sun bears?
The best way to visit, to know about our works or want to help us, is to visit our website at www.bsbcc.org.my, or you can check out our Facebook. On your Facebook, you can search for Borneo Sun Bear Conservation Center or BSBCC. You will find our site. You can learn about our work, and then from there, you know, you can choose to donate online. You can buy our souvenirs. You can sign up as a volunteers, and finally, I always tell people, do what you do best to help us. That's it there.
That's your babies calling. Well, we'll pop those links up on the screen there, and if you want to help Dr. Wong with his cause, good stuff. Let's go and have a look at some bears.
Yes, all right. Thank you.
Right.
Cheers.
After you.
All right.
Feeding time. What's for breakfast?
Well, the recipe is papaya, banana, papaya, and watermelon for today. Check high.